Unlike most days since the Obama administration took on the perennial issue of health care, something important, something tactile and measurable happened today. This was it.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it and the order is adopted.
Today, the Massachusetts State Senate approved a bill allowing Governor Deval Patrick to fill the late Ted Kennedy's Senate seat until a special election can be held in January. Since the measure passed the Massachusetts House last week, it's expected to land on the governor's desk tomorrow. And that means by the end of this week, there's every chance that the Democrats in the Senate, the Democrats in the United States Senate, will be back up to a theoretically filibuster-proof 60-seat majority. And Massachusetts won't have to spend 4 more months with just one senator. Now the question is, of course, who's going to get that seat? Joining us now is Tom Oliphant, former columnist for the Boston Globe. Mr. Oliphant, thanks very much for coming on the show tonight.
My pleasure, Rachel.
Is it Senator Dukakis, do you think?
Well, right now, I guess you'd have to say that he leads the pack by, what could I say, the margin of one rather large Greek-American nose. It's almost as big as mine. But also there is somebody who's been with Kennedy family people for more than 40 years, Paul Kirk, former chairman of the National Democratic Party. But you keep hearing a little more Dukakis than Paul Kirk and little about a surprise.
None of the people who are potential appointees for this 4-month term are going to run for the seat in January. That's sort of part of the deal.
That's the deal.
But we've already seen from the folks who are going to be running in January that it looks like it may be a real fight on the Democratic side as to who's as liberal as Kennedy was. Do you think that Governor Patrick feels he has to appoint someone to this interim term who is as reliably liberal as Ted Kennedy was?
No, I don't think that'll be the criterion. To the extent he's thinking about re-election politics, and frankly, I think he'd be really stupid to think very much about it, because I don't think a year from now anybody's going to remember who the interim senator was except us. But on the margins, I think he's looking for somebody who's going to be that 60th vote. And I don't think there's any question he will find such a person. On the other hand, though, no one knows, whether it's Mike Dukakis or Paul Kirk or somebody else, how they will vote on these all-important amendments. I mean, Wyden has a really universal public option. Rockefeller has a more traditional one. Olympia Snowe would use a trigger. I haven't the foggiest idea how any of these front-runners would vote on that, and I don't think they do either.
There is some sense, though, that Dukakis brings policy area credibility to this issue. I mean, he knows a lot about health care, and he's worked on it in academic and political context for a long time, right?
I would say without hesitation that Mike Dukakis probably knows more about this subject than anybody else in the body he might be about to join. Now, interestingly, some would say that's an argument in his favor. I think from the Obama White House perspective, it worries some people a little bit because to the extent that Dukakis is independent, his own person, you can't always figure out where he's going to come down. My guess is, though, that this next senator is going to vote with the Democrats procedurally. No filibusters, bring the bill to the floor, and all of that. But on the question of amendments, it's jump ball, really. But at the end, I think they will take their cue from Senator Kennedy and vote for the best bill they can get, and not be the kind of liberal who would draw a line in the sand and walk away if he doesn't get what he wants.
Tom Oliphant, former columnist for the Boston Globe, thanks for your insight. Thanks for being on the show tonight. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.